Hello and welcome back, our wonderful fans, to the Disciples of the Force podcast, a Star Wars podcast, one of your favorites out there. I'm Austin High, and this is my beautiful co-host, Spencer Silva, and my best friend. Did you know that?
You added that? I didn't. Thank
you. Yep. Gonna say it every time now.
Pretty. Aww.
Well, you are. You sure are. We're excited for this week. Kaysen is my best friend, yeah. You're a close second.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being honest.
Maybe third. Let's do a hard third, soft second. Let's get started off. No real Star Wars news that I could see, but I was just looking, and it looks like they're filming The Acolyte, this week or thereabouts in Madeira. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's my homeland,
Mr. Portugal,
man. That's where we at.
So that's exciting. That's one of my favorite parts about Andor. I talk about Andor in every episode, but one of my favorite parts about Andor is all the location shoots. I don't really like the volume, so that's good that The Acolyte, which is my most anticipated Star Wars series, is at least filming partially on location somewhere. So that's great. Oh, you finished it, huh?
I finished Captain Rex for the
Look at that thing.
It's
beautiful.
Actually freaking lit. I really like it.
That is awesome.
So I got to figure out a spot to put it though.
How'd you do the antenna? Can I get a closer look of that?
Yeah, dude. Let me.
Is it just the long pieces?
So it's actually really interesting. It's like a bunch of small pieces, and then like this thing right here, that stem is like a custom.
Oh, cool.
It's dope.
That's awesome.
I have Boba Fett's, but his doesn't have this back part right here. It just has this.
Interesting.
Anyways, that's probably really boring for people who are listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, sorry. It looks great. Watch it on YouTube.
Also, sorry to our fans last week. If you're a TikTok goer, we did not post anything. That's on me. I was mad busy. We had a wedding and stuff. It was just crazy. Not my wedding, a buddy's wedding.
Yeah, man. Congrats to our friend Gavin, I guess. Not that he's ever going to listen, dude. And you know what? It's not congrats. Because guess what, Gavin? You're in for a wild ride with this whole marriage thing.
Not going good, huh?
New topic. Let's get back to Star Wars, huh? No, it's going great. I'm happily married.
3 kids.
It's 3 kids, a 4th on the way. It's one of the best blessings in my life. So it's wonderful. Yeah, let's go ahead and hop into. Do you want to start with the Bad Batch?
Yeah, let's go. I think we'll just stick to that way. Bad Batch Mando for the time being. That's
great. Let's hear your thoughts. I want to hear, overall what you thought about the episode.
I liked it. This one, last I checked, I got to go back and check. This one got a 6.7 on IMDb, so kind of a dip in the series, which makes sense. It wasn't like it was setting up a lot of stuff. Is kind of what it was doing. It wasn't something crazy. I liked how Fee was back. I thought that was dope. We got to see her. And then I said, that's about to come to what do they call that boiling point. It's getting there. I think she's who's going to turn him in. Ultimately. Yeah.
She said something like, remember how much I've done for you and how much I know about you or whatever.
Yeah.
She's going to do it probably this next episode. Because this was episode, 13? There's only 3 or 4 episodes left, right?
Yeah, this was number 13. Yeah, and there's only a couple more left. I think maybe 16 was the total. 16.
So 14, 15, 16. Yeah, it's going to come to a head. That's going to be probably the main arc. And the pacing of this series, of this season specifically, has been kind of weird. Like all of this stuff has really just come to a head. Like in the most recent episodes, like Crosshair getting caught by the cloning facility, that new villain being introduced. They're finally coming after Omega, and now this, like they're saying they're going to stay in Pabu or whatever.
Yeah.
And Sid is finally getting to like a boiling point. It's like, how are they going to fit this all in 3 episodes unless they're long, or maybe they won't. Maybe it'll set up for next season, but we'll see.
Yeah. And that is true. And I thought that was interesting that when they said they're going to stay there. And I did like, the one part I really did like about the episode is that I didn't think that it was going to be a natural disaster. I honestly thought it was going to be the Empire coming to get him. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Little shock.
Yeah, it was nice because did you ever see Avatar 2, The Way of Water?
No, I actually never did.
Oh my word.
I don't like blue
Spencer.
people, dude. That's like the one race is blue. I'm just kidding.
Dude.
I love all races. I love the Indy 500.
That's good.
Thank you.
No, but in Avatar 2, the reason I didn't really love the story is because Jake Sully, the main protagonist, is like, oh, we need to get away to protect our people.
Mhm.
Like, they're going to come kill me, so we need to get away from our people. And then he goes to this other tribe and, like, seeks refuge there, but they're just going to come inconvenience that other tribe and kill all them,
Right.
So it's like, why are you even doing that? I thought this was going to be that. And they're, like, setting up how beautiful Pabu is and, like, how it's this safe space for refugees. And I was like, oh, the Bad Batch is just going to ruin it by being there.
Yeah,
so yeah, I agree with you. It was nice that it was a natural disaster, but next episode it probably won't be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing I thought as well, kind of going along with what you're saying. Like, it is so pretty. I didn't think about that contrast is going to be that it's probably going to be destroyed, total contrast. And it also kind of reminded me that, like, since this episode was slower, it's kind of like the calm before the storm is kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. This is that nice little calm moment because I think that last three are going to be building to something, either finishing it all or we'll find out. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really loved this episode. I'm sure a lot of people will dislike it, say it's a filler or whatever. And especially after we got kind of an action-packed episode last week where there's like intrigue and Crosshair kills the guy and like whatever. But I loved it. I love world building in Star Wars. And so seeing like a new planet like this and actually getting attached to the people over the span of just a 30-minute episode is crazy. Also, I know you have no idea about any of this, but this last summer I summered in Europe, and this Pabu place really reminded me. Yeah, I did. I know I never
When did you go?
About it. We were gone for so long. We were over there for so long. I can't even remember dates.
I didn't know.
It was like another life. Yeah. Anyway, this Pabu Island reminded me a lot of like Santorini. Just like all the beautiful houses on the hill in Greece. And when you're on that island in Santorini, you see all these beautiful pictures of like the sunsets and these white buildings and the blue domes and whatever. What you don't know is those buildings are on top of a mountain and you have to like hike up these switchbacks all the way up to this city. And it reminded me a lot of Pabu reminded me a lot of that. Like the trail they had to take all the way up to the top when they were trying to escape the waves.
You think it was inspired by that?
I think so, yeah, because even like down by the docks, there's those ruins there, and they kind of look like those big pillars. They kind of looked like, I don't know, like Greek ruins or something. I think they were alluding to that. It was kind of like a fusion of, like the first little bit of the episode, I got like Polynesian culture, like with them eating all the food, and especially like the seafood, and like for the first time, Wrecker's full. That just reminded me of every Samoan or Tongan person I've ever met, they just love the food. And then it was that kind of fusion of that with Greek is what I felt. I don't know. Maybe I'm off.
Well, you're probably right. Because the thing is with Austin, to our listeners, this dude, anytime something's on the screen, he knows it. Okay. We were playing Warzone a while back. I forget the name of the map. And I was like, is this
Fortune's
something?
Keep.
Yep. That's right. Fortunes. And he nailed what it looked like. He's like, oh, it actually looks like this place here. And then we looked it up, and it was definitely inspired by it. So I'm going to say you're right. I think you nailed it. I think that's the same.
Well, let's just go with that. I like that assumption.
You heard it here first. Fact. What else you have? Because that's it. But keep going.
I've got a whole page of notes, so I'll just speed run through them real quick.
Go through it. No, you don't speed run. Don't speed. Don't speed. Just take your time, baby. Let's hear them.
Okay. First thing, I really liked Fujino in this episode. She's sick as hell. Like, the opening scene is something like straight out of Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, like that meetup that they have in, I think it's Shanghai in the movie. But it's just like that, where the guy they're meeting up with tries to poison them and then tries to kill them. So good. Also, the assassin worms that guy used at the beginning of this
That's
scene.
the same
Right out of Attack of the Clones. Yep.
Okay. That's what I thought too.
Tech and Fee's little crush is kind of weird, kind of cool.
Yep, it is a little goofy.
I was thinking about that too. I wanted to run this by you. So we learned last season that Tech is Omega's age. All the Bad Batch were born at the same time. Omega just didn't have the advanced aging.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make Fee Genoa a pedophile for making a move on Tech?
I think that's a good question, man, because he's aged, but his brain's pretty developed. He's got a developed. Do you think he's got a developed member down there? You think? I think he's the exception.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. I was going to email the powers that be. I was going to email Dave or Kathleen and ask them.
I'll just shoot him a text.
See if they respond.
We're close.
Yeah, they're probably listening. So, Dave, Kathleen, give us a call. Let us know if Fee Genoa is a pedophile. I really liked that Omega finally gets to be like a kid with her friend Liana, I think her name was. That was really cool.
I did like that too.
I know a lot of people probably don't care for that at all, but it's like a full circle arc. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Omega is one of my favorite characters, developing characters in Star Wars. And so to see her like finally get a little bit of rest from the Bad Batch adventures and be a real kid for a minute, awesome. What else? Oh yeah. I love how Hunter is like, his big thing is he has heightened senses and he's like a great tracker and stuff. Mm-hmm. This was one of the few times we ever saw his heightened senses. Like he perceives the earthquake like 2 seconds before everybody else. But it's kind of nice to see that he actually has something going on.
Yeah, he's kind of like an animal because all the animals were sensing it and he sensed it.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I sense it too.
Very cool. I sense it too. Another thing, little detail I liked, that's the sign of a real life tsunami when like the water gets pulled out to sea. So if you're ever by the ocean and you see water just rushing out to sea and the beach drying up like that, tsunami, get away, warn everybody. And I just liked the like refugee themes. It's kind of like refugees will always struggle and always have to be running from something. Like the Bad Batch, they found a nice place to settle down, but then there's always something that they've got to be doing. Just like the refugees, they're also there on Pabu. Yeah, they're safe from the Empire right now, but their homes are getting destroyed. It's just like the refugee struggle. So I thought that was pretty cool. The parallels between the Bad Batch and the other refugees. But that's all I had. So sorry, I liked that, dude.
No, dude. Whoa, dude. Baby.
Okay, let's go into Mandalorian, dude. Unless you have anything else to say on that.
No, that was it. I thought it was a good episode. I think we're in for a good next couple episodes here and see what's going to happen. So I think this will be fun.
Yeah.
Let's jump in. So Mandalorian. Oh, sorry about that. Chapter 19. When I first looked on IMDb, this one was ranked a 7.6 with 5,000 reviews, but now it dropped down to 7.3. So looks like it's, of the three, it is the lowest. But anyways, what I liked about it is how I was a little curious of how the fact that Din Djarin didn't see oh my god!
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, I felt like that was because didn't that grab him? I thought it grabbed him, but in his story, it didn't.
I guess not. Because when he came up, he was like, "Oh, I just didn't know that the chasm went that deep, and I fell." Yeah. He said, "I fell." It's like, dude, you had to fall super fast because Bo-Katan had to jump in with her jetpack going and dive after you. Like, there's no way. He must have gotten pulled, I think, unless, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of
He
a
must have
continuity thing.
been.
But
Well, maybe it was just the fact that he was like such an emotional experience. He wasn't really thinking.
Yeah,
That was like a
that's true.
side thing in his mind. So he just like, I don't know.
But on the
I
other
thought it was
hand,
really interesting.
if he had gotten pulled down by the Mythosaur, he'd be effing dead, you know? So maybe he
It's
didn't.
true.
Maybe he did just fall. But it's weird that he didn't see it
Yeah.
at all.
It was. I'll have to go back and watch the ending of that and see
Yeah.
what it looks like. The second thing was I was surprised they didn't have a fight with it.
Yeah.
That it just kind of happened. They talk about it and they leave. I thought that was really interesting because, I mean, you and I talked about last week that we thought there would be like a big fight scene with the Mythosaur.
Mhm.
And it was not. We were wrong. Happens sometimes. We're not batting at 1,000.
Every once in a while.
But I do like the fact that it makes Bo-Katan believe, you know, because she's like questioning it, because like it has that shot where she's looking at the emblem when they get out and she's like staring at it for a bit. She's like, am I making this up? And she was so like against it. But yeah, what else you got? I got more, but we can just go back and forth.
Yeah. I like that when she pulls him up, she's like, "Did you see anything down there?"
Mhm.
And that could be like her, like you said, questioning if she really saw it. But I think it's more so her like trying to conceal it, you know, because she's going to plan on how she's going to retake the right to rule Mandalore. Because like if she has control over the Mythosaur, you know, or containment or whatever, that's hers. You know, she couldn't unite them with the Darksaber. She kind of failed at that, and now nobody wants to follow her. But if she has the Darksaber and the Mythosaur, and she keeps Din out of the loop as to her intentions, she can have a real shot at the throne. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
That'll be interesting. I didn't think of that at all.
Yeah.
Smart little cookie. I think if you want, we could do like the talking about it. We can do kind of. Do you want to do how the episode was laid out, or do all the Mando scenes and then go back to the kind of the scientist stuff?
So yeah, I pretty much do. When I'm watching, I just take notes as I'm watching. So all of my notes are like in order of when I saw it. So we can just keep talking. Yeah.
I really, really, really loved the starship fights.
I know, dude. They're so
it's been
good
so
this
long.
season.
I know. Like I just feel like I haven't seen a good one, and that was really good. That's like I was like, this is a really, really good. And then I love the ending when they're just all coming after they think they defeat him and they're bombing. Like such a plot twist. I thought that was so good. I loved it.
Yeah, so great. Two things I thought were interesting from that. Again, loved the dogfights. Her ship, her Mandalorian ship, shoots yellow beams, which is pretty cool because, like in the Clone Wars, that's what the Mandalorian weapons shoot. They're yellow beams. They're not the red or the blue or the green that we see all throughout Star Wars elsewhere. And I think, I don't know if this is canon or not, but I read once that they're yellow because they're like the highest quality energy, whatever. I don't know. But it's just kind of cool that little Easter egg was in there, that she's a Mandalorian shooting from a Mandalorian ship and her beams are yellow, which is cool.
That is sweet.
And then she also says something like, this is a lot of ships for an Imperial warlord. Maybe she said that, or maybe I just thought that. I don't know.
No, she said that.
She said that. But
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting what it alludes to. Like, what's out there, you know? Why are there so many ships coming for her?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I thought too. I'm like, because that's what I wrote down. I was like, is the First Order after them? Like, this seems way too, if it's just a warlord, I feel like, I don't know. So I did wonder how they found them and why. I don't know. I think what you're saying. It's either alluding to something more, or maybe there's something, maybe these warlords are super powerful. They're on the come up, or maybe it really is the First Order. I don't know.
Well, and I wish that the creators would be more forthcoming in the timeline, because we still don't know how far after the first, or we don't know how long it's been since the end of season 2 to this time.
Oh yeah.
Like Dave Filoni said, it's been 2 years plus, but I don't think that's really been confirmed. So it would make sense if this was right after they caught Moff Gideon and sent him to to the New Republic,
Mhm.
then of course, like what's left of his goons want to take them down. That would make sense to me.
That
But if
would
it's
make
been
more
like 2
sense.
or 3 years, that doesn't make very much sense for them to just be coming after her for no reason. So hopefully that gets revealed a little bit more going
Yeah,
forward.
I think it will. I think it's going to have something to play into it because it seems like it was such a weird, big
Yeah.
thing. Not a huge
Deliberate,
thing, but
yeah.
like so it's like I feel like they have something with that. And I also liked how she said mud scuffers or whatever it was.
Uh,
And I was like,
That's our
a
word.
new word. That's our word. You nerf herder. That's what I thought of when I heard it. I was like, oh yeah, that's funny. I just love the little Star Wars words they put
I
in.
know. So good.
So
Speaking
Go
of,
ahead,
of Star Wars words, later in the episode, one of the amnesty program officers says poodoo as Pershing's walking up, and that's just what that one guy in Phantom Menace says when he crashes. What's his freaking name? The Doug.
yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he's a dog from Malastare.
Mhm.
I think they're either called dogs or Dougs. I can't remember what their race is called, but he says poodoo. So it's just kind of a funny prequel swear word.
Yeah. So that's all I have for that portion of it. Do you have anything else in the beginning
Nope,
part?
I'm
before
on to the next thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see what you got.
I just love seeing Coruscant in live action. That never gets old.
Beautiful.
Later on in the episode, he's watching like something on a tablet, and it's like informative about Coruscant, and it says something about how this is one of the few city planets in the galaxy. So that means there's more planets like Coruscant, and one of them is Hosnian Prime, which by the time of the sequels is the capital of the New Republic. But we've never seen it in live action except for that 1 second scene where it's like getting blown up.
Yeah, with
in,
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah. And so I'd love to see that. I love Coruscant, but I'd love to see more of Hosnian Prime as well. That was just one thought I had.
I didn't think of it. You're a quick little guy. You pick up on the subtleties.
Well, dude, I mean, it's our job, dude. If we're getting paid for this, which we are, I mean, we've got to be quick.
You're not wrong. We're millionaires now.
We are? Man, you got to share
yeah.
some. You've been keeping it all. But to Pershing's little TED Talk, 2 things that I got from that. Weird, what the hell is he doing with his ear? He like keeps touching it in this episode, but then it's never like shown why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like foreshadowing to the end of the episode where those things get blasted in his ear. I don't know, but
that's true. I didn't think of that.
Well, they make a point of it too, because when he's interviewing with the droid, he like grabs his ear and she's like, "Are you having a hard time hearing me?" or whatever. She mentions it, like she notices it, so it's got to be alluding to something else. I don't know. Maybe he's a sleeper agent and he had these blocks in his ear. No, there's no way. That's way too. That's grasping at straws. No way. But another thing is during his little TED Talk thing, he talks about mixing genetic strands. And so that made me think, we've been wondering, like, well, if they're pursuing Omega to clone for her midichlorian count or whatever she's got going on and Grogu, then why are they pursuing them both? But that makes sense why they would need more than one host to make like a perfect clone for Palpatine. So that was something that was really interesting to me.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I did think, I was really excited when they started talking about the cloning, like that little TED Talk, because it was like, we're getting somewhere. Just real quick, I need a refresher. I need to go back and watch seasons 1 and 2, but he was working with Moff Gideon, right?
Yes.
The doctor. Okay. And then Moff Gideon gets he gets captured. They goes to prison. We don't know. Well, we do in the episode find out kind of what maybe happened to him. Okay, and then he's remnant of that, and so because I don't remember seeing that girl at all.
Really, so
I don't remember her.
She plays a super minor role. Real quick on Pershing, I don't think he ever had like a true direct allegiance to the Empire, because every time we see him, he's wearing that Kaminoan cloning patch. And that was in the beginning, that was just kind of like a cool Easter egg for us to know that he was a cloner. But I think it's going to come to play later in that, like, he never was really aligned with the Empire, because even in this, when he talks about cloning, he talks about like his mother and how he's excited about the technology, not necessarily about things that he loves about the Empire. So I think that'll come into play. But yeah, and the only reason I remembered her is because she is in Ant-Man Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Have you seen it yet?
No.
So she had me, I don't want to say this on air, but she had me bricked up in that movie. I mean, geez, she's kind of hot in that movie. And then in this, she's like got short hair and, kind of manly looking, and I'm not into dudes, so I was not attracted to her in this. But anyway, after I came out of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, I was like, I know she's in something I've seen before. Looked up her filmography, Mandalorian, of course. And so I was like, oh yes, I know her from that. So that's the only reason I recognize her, else I wouldn't have. Because she is pretty minor. She has some speaking lines in season 2, I think. But yeah, I don't even know if she's named before this episode. So
interesting. Yeah. Well, because I was surprised, because apparently I should know who this is, but if she was a minor character, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, I kind of like, so when he's talking to, first off, I have it written down, but I like how the whole time, it's such a dystopian vibe, just like such a, I don't even know how to describe it, but like such like, oh, we're not like that anymore. That's the old thing. Yeah, but this is how we do. I thought it was really cool, showing that. But what I was going to ask you is, when he comes out after his TED Talk and they're talking to the rich people, and they said, Republic, New Order, First Order, Rebels, I can't keep up. Did you do that line? What did you think about that line?
I think that's so cool because, we've always seen Star Wars through this lens of the heroes or the villains, these big action pieces, but we hardly ever see what it's like for the everyday person or the elite like this. And for the elite, this is also talked about in Andor. It really doesn't make a difference who's in charge, as long as they keep them with their money and their power. Like, these people really don't care. It doesn't affect their daily lives. And same with like common folk. Yeah, it was harder under the Empire, and we see, was it in this? I can't remember if it was in Mandalorian or Bad Batch, but you just see how the Empire is cracking down on these people. And so it is a little bit harder, but at the end of the day, it's like, what's the difference between these different governments, Yeah. And on paper, these governments couldn't be more different, because it's established that the New Republic wanted to be the complete opposite of the Empire. Right. So they don't have their capital on Coruscant like it was with the Empire. They don't have a military anymore. And that's alluded to in this episode, how they're, one of them talks about how they're decommissioning Alliance starships. So they're getting rid of their military. They don't want to have the centralized government that the Empire had. So it's just really interesting that on paper, it's so much different, but in the daily lives of these elite, wealthy people, it doesn't make a difference at all. So I thought that was a cool little detail.
Well, that's exactly the same thing I thought when I was watching it. I was like, it shows like, to the rich, like, it does not matter to them. Like, they don't care, and I think that's kind of a cool political commentary as well. And I mean, Star Wars does it all the time, because it's like, it's the same, like, the stupid, filthy rich in the world, they don't care what's happening. It doesn't affect them. They don't care who's in charge, as long as, they have their money and it's not getting taken away from them. So I just think that is very funny that, that they put that in there. But like you said, like, seeing it through that lens does, like, make it a lot kind of a different approach to seeing how it's all going down. But that also makes me wonder, when it's going to come into play. I feel like The Mandalorian might have to go a little bit longer to figure out how to really tie in Force Awakens, because they're decommissioning everything. So how does it, what happens for them to start doing it again?
Yeah,
the military.
The reason the First Order, and that's a Force Awakens problem, I think, more so than anything, and it's everybody's problem now. But the reason that the Force, in The Force Awakens, the First Order is portrayed as like this small fringe group on the outer rim that's built up a lot of power recently and is taking over. But like it's one by one. I think in the beginning crawl of Force Awakens, it talks about how small the First Order is.
Oh, okay.
But so for that movie, it makes sense that, well, small New Republic government has to take on relatively small First Order.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense that, like, yeah, even though they don't have these huge starships anymore, they still have some semblance of a fighting force. But yeah, there will have to be some ground covered to make that make sense.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I didn't realize that they were considered to be relatively small.
Yeah.
Anyways, the swag, sweetie, man. Oh yeah. So like, I kind of texted you this, but like the fact that when he walks up to all the other cloners, well, not cloners, because they're not actually cloners. They're what's their job title in this episode? I forget.
Like the other former Imperial.
Yeah.
People. So it's called the Amnesty Program.
Yes.
I think they're just Amnesty Program officers, but they all had different occupations. So.
Yeah, and so when he walked up to him and they go, "Oh, it's you're the new one," and his reaction is very weird. He's like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh, you're the new guy." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." Which makes me wonder if somehow he is a clone of some sort, because he's the same guy we're seeing right now in the Bad Batch, and so maybe something happens. I don't know. Maybe it was just a throwaway line. He was just showing how like distraught he was. So when they said that, he wasn't thinking, but he was a little taken back by when they said it.
Yeah, I think there's two things. So first, when you first texted me that, I was like, I don't think he's a clone. But then at the same time, right now in the Bad Batch, there's that cloner lady with the glasses, who I've said, who I thought might be a clone, because she has a New Zealand accent like all the clones, and she's kind of darker complexion like the clones should be if they're based off of Tamura Morrison. And so I thought maybe she could be a clone, but that just doesn't really make sense to me. But Pershing kind of resembles her, not necessarily like Tamura Morrison. So there is something that maybe could be there. What I thought when he acted kind of surprised like that is the Empire taught them to not really. I mean, everybody was faceless in the Empire except the super, super high ups. So for them to be interacting like that and fraternizing like that, holy crap, I can't talk today, was a really weird thing. So for him to walk up on these former Imperials and have them be friendly and, want to get to know him and socialize with him, that would be really weird for him too. So
that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just the thought I had.
That's a good point, because it is a total different vibe than what he's used to. And they've mentioned that 1,000 times in the episode. Like, that's not us. We don't do that. This is the new thing. Yeah,
but I thought, like, as soon as I saw them, I was like, putting Imperials together like that is a bad idea, no matter what. And it ended up being, G68 or whatever her name was. I've got it written down here somewhere. Elia Kane. She ended up manipulating him and making him disobey the Amnesty Program, but.
Which, with that, I'm so confused, because I get, like, she wanted him to go get the supplies, right?
Right.
I'm guessing she wanted those. So she's like, hey, you go set up your lab. Oh, this is what you need. Perfect. I'm going to take that. But how did she, like, get, like, the people who were the arresting officers when it was happening? Like, I'm just confused by, did she just call an anonymous tip and they were like, yeah, she's fine. I don't know. It was weird to me.
Yeah. And can I be honest with you? I didn't really love this episode. I love a good filler episode. I love a good slow episode that builds a lot of lore. When I read the IGN review on this, they were like, it's more like Andor than the Mandalorian. It's not.
That's right.
Like,
you don't think so?
So it had like the political intrigue, the spy kind of stuff, the underground kind of stuff, which I love. I just don't think it was done very well in this episode. Visually, I hated this episode. First off, I think it looked really bad. I think these two characters, well, specifically the actors for these two characters, aren't very powerful actors. maybe the dialogue was kind of set up against them or whatever. I just I did not love their performances. I did not love the characters. I think Pershing will be a really interesting character going forward, and he's integral to the plot, but I didn't love him in this episode. That being said, I don't even know where I was going with when I started that rant. What did I say?
You just wanted to tell me.
Yeah, I just wanted
I was
to
asking. I was just asking about how they if she did like an anonymous tip.
Okay. So I'm thinking, well, her motivations are just pretty unclear because the whole episode, it seems like she's going to be like, she's tempting him to do this stuff, sneak out, disobey the amnesty program. It's like, oh, she's going to be working for the First Order or the remnants of the Empire, whatever. She's going to be a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And then she turns out she like scrambles his brain, which is not what the New Republic wanted to do, apparently. So I just think this is the longest episode of The Mandalorian, especially for this season. It's like we took so long to tell this story that kind of ended up being unclear. That's what I didn't love about it. I didn't understand her motivations.
I don't either.
And how it furthered the plot. Because if his mind is just flayed now and ruined, it's like, because here's the thing, if she works for the Empire, for Palpatine, and she needs someone to clone Grogu, why would she destroy the mind of the most powerful or the most competent that we know of cloner out there? Why would she do that? If she works for the New Republic, which it didn't really seem like, why would she flay his mind when that's not what they wanted? And why would she do all that stuff to get him out of the amnesty program? So, yeah, I just don't understand her motivations. Hopefully, I mean, maybe it'll become clear and I'll be like, oh, I was an idiot for just not understanding that. Maybe it just went over my head, but I just don't think the story was told very well.
I agree. I don't think, because I remember at the ending of it, I'm like, they better clean this up in the next couple episodes because I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure they are, but it's just like I don't understand why she did that. Like nothing of that was clear at all. There's a lot of things, so I'm hoping it'll be. But then again, his brain's going to be scrambled, so most likely will just be her on her maybe a side mission. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they've tied in.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they did. Maybe we're just dumb. Because usually I watch an Easter egg video, like an explained video just to get a different insight, and I didn't this week.
I didn't either.
Maybe one of those creators that's smarter than us is like, yeah, this is why she did it. These are her motivations, but I don't know. It just didn't seem very clear, which is kind of disappointing because I stayed for the credits. I don't think Dave Filoni had a writing credit on this episode, and so that's one thing. It was Jon Favreau's writing credit, which we love Jon, but maybe they're telling two different kind of stories. But it was also directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who is the director and cinematographer of Minari, which I haven't personally seen, but one of my good friends has seen and loved, sings praises about it. So I just thought, well, if he's a director and a cinematographer of such a great movie with a great story, it's visually appealing. How did this episode turn out to look bad? I mean, I'm a big visual guy. I just didn't like how it looked. And the motivations weren't there for me. And when you take an episode for this long and you expect it to further the plot, which it did so, I think, but for it to end like that, where his mind, like it's a net zero, right? At this point, he did all these things. We saw this story. We were supposed to get, more connection to Pershing and his progress in the New Republic, and then his brain's wiped. So as of right now, I don't think it was a great episode, a great creative choice anyway, but we'll see. Hopefully it's better.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was like a long setup for a poor punchline, It was just like, like this is taking forever and it's not really getting anything. So right. I'm with you on that. I did like though, how they kind of, answered the question for us about Moff Gideon, that he's gone.
Yeah, he's not accounted for.
Yeah.
Well, they said, is his mind flayed? Did he escape? So we really don't know still, but I'm glad he's back out on the streets. So he can still be
so maybe,
bad.
Yeah. And that's probably exactly what it is. They leave it open-ended. Like,
yeah.
So it's good, I kind of like that small part of it, letting us know that he's still alive.
I mean, because that could
Possibly.
connect why they bombed Bo-Katan's place, because she was the one that caught him, her and Din Djarin.
Yeah.
So he escaped and sent his goons after her, maybe. So we'll see. But yeah, I think
that's true.
One other thing I had was Pershing's coworker says Happy Bendu Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't know the Bendu were common knowledge before Kanan Jarrus. So I wonder if they are now, or if Bendu Day was a thing before that. Just a little Easter egg I'll have to look into.
Yeah, that's funny you said that, because I heard him say a celebration. I didn't realize he said Bendu, which is that being that helped Kanan. That's a good point.
Right.
So while we're on this part right here, before I get to my next thing, do you think? I think they're going to be able to tie in the Bad Batch with the Mandalorian, not because clearly it's not the same timeline, right? Or years apart, right. Three movies, in fact. But I think there's got to be some connection with him coming back in this one, and he's in the Bad Batch. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that.
So I don't think he's in the Bad Batch, is he? Have we seen him in the Bad Batch?
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean like that. I meant to say that we're talking about. I did say him. I meant to say we're talking about cloning in the Bad Batch.
Oh, yes.
I poorly spoken.
Yeah. So, there will be a messy timeline, but I think, I don't know. Omega technically could still be alive. She doesn't have the advanced aging. At this point, she could still be alive in the timeline of The Mandalorian.
Because she would be the same age as young Boba. Because...
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, she's probably still alive unless the Empire gets her during the timeline of the Bad Batch. But in that case, they'd probably just store her DNA for something like this. So I think it's absolutely tied together, especially, like I said, that reference during his TED Talk of saying you can use multiple strands of DNA. These are the only two characters, Grogu and Omega, who could be candidates for a line like that in Star Wars right now. So it's got to be those two. It's got to tie in. So yeah.
I agree.
Sorry. Real quick, before I forget. He also mentioned how I was going to go back and listen to the line. He said he got his love of cloning, or his interest in cloning and being a doctor, from his mother, who was a doctor. I wondered if he grew up on Camino or something like that, and he saw one of the Kaminoans as a mother figure, but that's kind of a stretch. It's probably not the case, but...
Well, it could be. I mean, because I don't think it's that far of a stretch, considering Omega considers Nala Se as a motherly figure.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. That's true.
That's all I had for. I was just gonna say that's all I have for that part of the episode.
Yeah,
the rest
is good to move on.
Okay, so maybe this actually is still part of that. I did think it was silly or funny when he's like, no, it's when he's getting his brain about to be wiped out. He's like, no, it's not my fault. It was a trap. And then
they cut to the what is that race called?
I figured it's
the Admiral Akbar's race. Yeah.
I thought that was
I thought that was funny. That was a cute little Easter egg. Okay, I do have a few more things from around that part of the episode.
Go ahead.
First thing, little Easter egg of Umate. I forgot how they pronounced it, but in writing it looks like Umate. The tallest mountain on Coruscant. I just think it's so cool that it's just like a little piece of rock in the middle of a courtyard, showing how tall the buildings are and how everything's built so up. And that's actually referenced in the one High Republic book that I read. They talk about how spiritual it is and how important it is to the people of Coruscant, because it's the only land that you can see. Also, another little detail, that droid that interviews him it doesn't have legs. It's built into the desk.
Oh,
thought that was
really?
just sad and yeah, it kind of like highlights how it's like bound to do its job. But we've talked about on this podcast before how droids are like sentient and they have feelings, and it just sucks that it's like always doing its job and it's always stuck there like it's an actual slave. So kind of sad.
That is actually way sad. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just hated the train sequence. Looked so bad, and just kind of, I think they need to stop doing chase scenes in Star Wars, like in any capacity other than starships.
Starships.
Yeah, you think about like the Book of Boba Fett, the moped chase, and the Leia chase, cool. And yeah, well, sick.
That was sick.
Great.
All those are sick.
And then this train chase where they're just like walking. I get that it was supposed to build tension, but I did not love it. And then it was just so interesting. I'm glad we finally got a glimpse of like how the New Republic works, because the sequel certainly didn't give us any of that. We got more in this episode, which I'm criticizing heavily, about the New Republic than we did in 3 movies. So I think that's great. But it shows like how the New Republic was doomed to fail from the start. You know, they just tried to go the totally opposite direction of the Empire, and it just wasn't going to work, you know? So
a little 180 doesn't always fix everything.
No, not always.
With that, I did want to say about the ending. I thought it was interesting how, you know, Bo-Katan technically was like cleansed in the waters as well, and that she was now part of the Creed. I thought that was cool because, you know, she's so against it, but I feel like there's a part of her that's like, well, this is kind of a family. Like, she's so alone. Like, you see it the whole time. You're like, now she's got someone, and she's like, because I was expecting her to take off her helmet immediately, like, no. But then she kind of sat there and she's like, well, this is actually kind of nice as opposed to being on my planet by myself or my moon or whatever.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that her home on Kalevala on the moon of Mandalore, that was where I think she said last episode or the episode before, that's where like her family's power came from. That was like a generational home, and now it's gone. So everybody in her family's dead. She's the last one, and now her family home is destroyed. She's got nowhere to turn. And so yeah, this is the natural step for her, is to go with the convent. So I think that's great. I do always this series is kind of painting Bo-Katan out to be kind of like a questionable, morally gray figure, and she always has been, but you can usually figure out her intentions. In this series, I think they're kind of keeping that under wraps a little bit more. And so my first thought when she got accepted into it was, does she really want to be a part of this family, or is she going to leverage this somehow to gain control over all the Mandalorians again? So we'll see.
That was my second thought too, is she's going to use it kind of as a pivot to push to something else. Yeah. So maybe she starts pulling people one by one. Yeah. Either way, it's a great storyline. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for it. But that's all the notes I had.
And that's all I had. Yeah. So we'll see. I am excited to see how that goes. So
yeah, it'll be great. It's getting exciting. I haven't loved all the episodes so far, like as singular episodes, but I think it's going to an exciting point. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that.
And we kind of talked about how we do like how this this season, that they've not done the whole grocery shopping list. You know,
much better.
They got into stuff quicker, so that is also really nice too. So that's, you know, they're doing some good things. Well, we got 2 options for you. We could spin that wheel, or I did see this interesting 15 worst characters on Star Wars. If you wanted to go over those,
let's do that. Let's do worst characters in Star Wars. See if we agree with it.
I'll share. Which is let me share this little screen here. I thought it was interesting, so I was like, well, maybe we could do that. Plus, you know, it'll be kind of quick, and we're at 50. So I don't know, man. What do I know? No, dude, what do I know?
You're our producer. You're our director. So trust you.
You got my screen? Is it showing?
It's loading. There it is. Oh, dude, if Jar Jar Binks is on this list, we're not talking about it.
Okay, Screen Rants 15 worst characters in Star Wars ranked.
Okay.
Actually, so the reason why I thought of this was because Forrest sent it to me on a TikTok, and I was like, that'd be fun to talk about. So number 15, which I think I don't know if you would place them here, but it's the Ewoks.
Well, let's see their reasoning.
So, when the Ewoks made their appearance in Return of the Jedi, they were met with mixed reactions. While some of the younger fans enjoyed the teddy bear aliens from Endor's Forest Moon, several of older Star Wars fans felt the Ewoks were a way of George Lucas to pander to children in order to sell toys. It didn't make sense that the Ewoks, a relatively primitive and superstitious race, were able to mobilize an army equipped with only stone tools and miraculously defeat the Empire stormtroopers on speeder bikes and AT-STs. And then I'll just read this last one real quick. Many Star Wars fans who were born in the 1980s or later may not have been aware of the severity of older fans' dissatisfaction with the role of the Ewoks playing the Return of the Jedi. However, before the prequel films, the Ewoks were often considered the most embarrassing and disappointing part of Star Wars films.
Okay, so I totally agree with the first paragraph. Okay, I think it definitely was a way for him to pander to children. He didn't have to make them look cute and scruffy and with the second paragraph, though, where it's like unrealistic, the whole thing is unrealistic. And George has said before, and he said it again very recently in an interview with, probably not an interview, I guess, but a little sit down with James Cameron. He talks about how his inspiration for the Rebel Alliance were the Viet Cong, and the Empire was, of course, there's the inspirations of Nazi Germany in the Empire that are shown pretty clearly, but it was also the Empire was meant to show American imperialism. And George has talked about that time and time again and again recently. So it makes sense that, a relatively primitive and superstitious race were able to mobilize an army equipped with only stone tools, whatever, that the underdog would beat this huge imperial giant. That's what George always wanted. So I love that part of the story. I just wish they weren't so dumb looking and stupid. So
gotcha. Yeah. You just didn't like the look of them. Okay. I like them. They never bother me. I don't have any beef with them. Truly. I don't think.
Okay.
But what do I know? I'm just a dude on a podcast. Okay. The next one is, I don't even know how to pronounce their name. Zam Wessel. This is the bounty hunter in Attack of the Clones. That's a long one. Let me see if we can get the context here. Zam Wessel is a bounty hunter contracted by Jango Fett to kill Senator Amidala in Attack of the Clones. Unfortunately, Zam Wessel is impressively terrible at her job, leaving many fans to wonder why Jango would pay her for her deadly services. Wessel doesn't try to hide the fact that the Senator is in danger. After all, she sets off an explosive, destroying one of her ships and killing many people, including one of the Senator's body doubles. In her second attempt, Wessel utilized ASN-121, a droid that deposits deadly cohoons into Amidala's room. However, the Jedi who were guarding Amidala kill the cohoons and trace the droid back to Wessel. Wessel uses a Keister 1284 sniper rifle to destroy the droid in an attempt to stop Obi-Wan Kenobi from following her. But it begs the question, why didn't she just use the rifle to assassinate Amidala? What are your thoughts? I've never thought of this as a bad character, so that's kind of funny.
And neither have I. Have you seen that thing where like the train of assassinations, the train of people who want to kill Senator Amidala?
No, I'm not.
It's like Palpatine wants to kill Senator Amidala, but he knows he can't directly do it, so he gets Dooku to do it. And Dooku doesn't want to do it, so he gets Jango to do it. And Jango doesn't want to do it, so he gets Sam Wessel to do it. And Sam Wessel doesn't want to do it, so she sends a droid to do it. And the droid doesn't want to do it, so he sends the worms to do it. And it's like all these, this train of people that need Senator Amidala killed. It's just like contracting out a lesser person. So in that mindset, it's always made sense to me that Sam Wessel, of course, she's a bad bounty hunter because she's contracted by the best bounty hunter in the galaxy at this point. And it's like a build up to Jango. It's not, I've never found a problem with her at all. Except I did feel betrayed as a kid when she was hot and then she turned into that gross alien thing.
Alien.
So,
dude, same.
Really?
That's exactly what I
Look at us.
I was like, oh, ew, yuck. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I disagree with 14. I don't know if I don't think she's that bad. I mean, she's just doing her job. I mean, I get the point. She could have just used the rifle on him, but
Right.
whatever.
Well, here's the thing: if you've got to pick 15, I get maybe why she ends up on the list, but I wouldn't think of her when I'm thinking of a bad character.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, yeah. All right. So the next is Boss Nas. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah. So I don't even know if we need to read this. Like, I don't love him as a character because he is a Gungan. Like, his species is Gungan, which is crazy because he looks nothing like any of the other Gungans.
Yeah, he looks yucky.
That's one beef I had with him. Like, Jar Jar's eyes are off of his face, and this guy's are, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't like his character design, but I like him. I don't care.
I don't. He kind of bugs me.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think just some of his, like, he's very over the top, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know have a specific reason. I just know, like, I get why he's on the list, I guess.
Right. I that's the thing. I would have had to make my own list to, like, to really disagree with this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can think of worse characters, like Zero the Hutt. Yeah. I hate that guy. But anyway.
Oh, don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Is he okay? Up. Let's see.
Yeah. Jocasta Nu, weird. I don't know why people hate her. I like her.
She's a bitch. That's why, probably.
You don't like her? What's wrong with her?
She's so condescending and rude to Obi-Wan. She's like, I'm sorry, but that's just not possible. We know everything. She's a representation of Jedi hubris. She's a representation of why the Order fell, is because they're so prideful. They think they know everything. That's why I don't like her. But let's see. Okay. What do they say about her?
They say she's the... Go ahead.
Yeah, smugness aside, this is the most closed-minded, narrow, and ridiculous view. If something does not appear in the library, then there's a chance it hasn't been discovered yet. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't like her. I don't vibe with her, man. She does have a cool ass lightsaber blaster though in those Darth Vader comics. So
yeah,
she gets that. She gets those points.
But I feel like that's just what librarians are, man. They're just mean old women.
To all our librarians that are listening, Spencer didn't mean that. Okay, we love you. We appreciate you. You are tomorrow's future. You are our future. I don't know what I was trying to say.
You are tomorrow's future. Okay, fine. I don't know. I think for me, she'd be lower in the list. I don't think 12, but let's keep going.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Gross, yeah. Unkar Platt, dude, gross.
He's just a gross looking It looks like someone was doing CGI and they accidentally moved the mouse and swooshed his face. He's just yuck.
I'll be one Russian. He's gross.
Let's see here. Why did they? Who deals with the scrap pieces of Jackson? The plot was originally going to play a larger part, or at least Chewbacca was going to pull his arms off. Oh, that would have been However, great. He ends up being a momentary blob in the film, while Chewie's pulling off Platt's arms doesn't actually sound like a very good addition to this film. It was at least going to put something that involved Platt, who otherwise doesn't add anything to the film. Yeah, I mean, he is annoying, but he's so small, I don't know. Whoever wrote this must have really had just a bad moment with him when he came on the screen. So this next one I don't agree.
Dude, that's Simon Pegg. That makes sense why he's on this list. I didn't recognize the name. That's he's the main guy in Shaun of the Dead. He plays Huey's dad on The Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, Huey in the original Boys comic run was based off of Simon Pegg, the actor, like his character design and everything. So it's interesting that he's such a big actor. Well, no, I don't think. I think just visually, probably. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But interesting. Battle droids.
Battle droids. I don't agree with it. I think I used to kind of not hate them, but I was like, I remember as a kid, I was like, whatever. But
Right.
as I've watched them, especially in the Clone Wars,
In the Clone Wars,
they're
dude.
so funny, dude.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I love
Roger.
I love battle droids. I love them. Yeah, that's bad. It's got to be off this list.
Yeah, I think the repeatedly chirping of Roger makes them a great threat to the sanity of moviegoers that the film's protagonists. They would have been much more terrifying foes if they didn't speak. No, I think it kind of humanizes them. I like it. I don't agree.
It
I
does.
think they should. Yeah, I don't know. That's dumb.
Grow up.
Yeah,
because there's the B1 battle droids who talk and are funny, a little bit of comic relief. Oh, Rod of the Hutt. And then there's the super battle droids and the droidicas and the assassin droids and the Magna Guards. None of those people talk. None of them are funny. They're intimidating enough. The B1s are perfect where they are.
Yeah, especially if you're putting them like they're henchmen, they're not going to be like
right.
You're not going to make them crazy intimidating. Again, just a lot of them we want to overwhelm.
Exactly.
So the next one, you already Rod of the Hutt.
Gross.
It sounds like you don't like Rado. You think this is a good ranking, or you think it should be higher?
Well, so first off, the Clone Wars film isn't that great.
Yeah.
And him being like a main plot aspect of it. Yeah. And I would never ask to see like a baby, an infant Hutt,
Yeah.
It's just gross. And I don't even think it talks. I don't remember if it talks at all. Probably doesn't.
I don't think it does.
But yeah, it's just gross. No other reason than it's gross. Yeah.
I agree. I don't like it because it is gross. But doesn't Ahsoka love it? I can't remember.
Punky Muffin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nick Stinky.
Stinky.
More. Yeah.
Ugh.
That's what I get called.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, maybe we should start calling you Rod of the Hutt.
I'll kill
Rod
myself.
of the Hutt, Stinky. Where are we? Newt Gunray. This one's controversial.
I had to hold back saying his name in a way, if you know what I'm saying, Austin.
Oh yeah. In his accent.
Yeah. I was almost got canceled without even trying. Yeah, I don't know. I think they I don't really have much beef with Newt Gunray. What about you?
I think he's intimidating enough. It says down there that the Moynihan could have been a seriously intimidating villain, and I think so.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're just very stereotypical Asian, hardcore. Like when you rewatch it, dude, it's uncomfortable.
Like,
so yeah, if they sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say my dad, who's not much of a PC person, when I remember putting it on the other day, he goes, "Whoa!" It's like, that's pretty freaking bad.
No,
dude.
it's shocking. I won't say it in his accent, but when he says, "Is that my lord? Is that legal?" It's like iconic. It says down there, yellow face performance, insane. It's like, George, what were you thinking creating this character? Oh man, yeah. I do like Newt Gunray. I like how the Trade Federation fits into everything. I don't think he's a bad character. I think he's a poorly directed character. Because I'm sure that performer was like, dude, are you sure you want me to say it like this? And George is like, yeah, let's do it again.
He's like, that actually wasn't very what I was going for. Can you try it again? Fode and Bede, I agree. I hate these guys. I don't know why. I don't like them. in Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah, gross. Yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah, they're yucky, the two-headed people. I think they're pretty self-explanatory why they're not liked. Because doesn't one of them speak a different alien language?
Yeah, one speaks Huttese and one speaks English, I think. Or Basic is what we would call it in the Star Wars world.
That's so funny. But they're the
same look person. At that. Look at that. She gives commentary in Basic while Bede speaks in Huttese, and they misspelled speaks. Screen Rant, get your editors to work. Jeez.
Speaks with two E's.
Speaks.
It's funny. Yeah, I agree. They suck.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this was her name. So these Jivwazink. How do you pronounce his name?
No, I have no idea.
Jivwazink Hizbrix Ik Nimrats. I just probably committed a hate crime. Thanks, George.
Yeah, you probably did.
These, if you don't know, these are the people in the remastered. Is this for Return of the Jedi?
Return of the Jedi, yeah.
I think her so gross. I don't like her alien.
Dude, why?
Why don't I like her?
No, why is she in there? I mean,
exactly, yeah. When I was
Max
watching
Rebo.
with Ellie,
oh, sorry,
she
go
goes, sorry, just real quick. When I was watching with Ellie, she's like, "Is this important?" I go, "No, I don't know why this is in there."
She
She's
goes,
like,
"Can we skip this?"
yeah. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, they're gross. I like the dude. I like his voice.
Yeah,
And like when he holds that note and there's like saliva dripping off his teeth. I think that's so funny. But she makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, what person in their right mind would make a movie and then years later say, this is what we need in this movie? Crazy.
We need to sexualize an alien is what we need to do.
Yeah, dude. Max Rebo, though, the band that they belong to, I love Max Rebo. And he makes an appearance in the Book of Boba Fett. He defies death always. So
don't mess with Max Rebo, baby.
I hope he's not on this list, but there's no way.
Yeah, it's also funny to me that this scene exists because it's like, why have a musical number in Star? Why is this here? Like, it's never been done. And
I just
threw it in.
That's part of the charm of Star Wars, man. Like, why do any of it?
That's a good point.
It's great.
Okay, so this actually reminds me. That's a funny picture.
Oh yeah, that is some news that we need to share. That is hilarious.
So they recently just released I forget the name. Do you know the name of the documentary, Ost?
I can't remember. No.
The documentary of the Christmas special. They just put it out. It just got, what did that article say that I sent you? That got 5 stars?
90. Yeah.
Oh,
super
yes.
high
It was
ratings.
like super high ratings, yes. So we got to watch that. We got to do our due diligence on that because it talks about the explanation as to why the Star Wars holiday special was made. If you've never heard of that, you should, because George tried to do everything he could to wipe that from the face of the earth.
Yeah. I just love that there's a documentary on it now. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. When they, in the Star Wars acquisition, did they get rights to that or no? The actual holiday special?
That's a great question, dude. I don't know how they could. Like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist. Like,
yeah.
I've seen parts of it on YouTube, but I'm not even sure how those exist. And I'm not even sure if they're the right holiday special. So I have no idea.
I'll go do some deep dive in the dark internet.
Yeah, do a deep dive. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. Anyways, a guy named Lumpy or Lumpo Waru. He is just looks like just a Wookiee. So I don't know. I'm not going to read into that because I have no idea. But this still photo they have of him is very funny.
Yeah,
I don't know why he's just staring like that. All right, next is Zero the Hutt, which is
Zero
your
the Hutt.
favorite
Hate
character.
him. His lisp, his like New Orleans accent, his monocle, his effing feathers, dude. I hate that guy. He's disgusting, and he's in the Clone Wars so much. It feels like
yes, more than he should be that's for sure. I do like how you said it just has everything you just said. High raspy, accented with a lisp. So I don't like Zero at all.
Dude, and that's a great point. He speaks basic. He doesn't even speak Huttese. Like, he would be a much more likable figure if he spoke a language I didn't understand.
Yeah, because
and look, it says he's a mocking stereotype of a gay man. And maybe that's why I take offense to it as a gay man myself.
What?
Oh no!
Did you just come out on our pod?
Maybe I did. We'll work on that.
Keeping it in,
but that's so funny. George Lucas himself specifically requested.
Zero.
Specifically requested. Have you seen that story of like how Dave Filoni drew up Ahsoka, and then George specifically requested like a shorter skirt and showing her midriff? Like, George, dude, one of my heroes. but a kind of a creepy, weird ass dude. So
Yeah.
that's kind of funny.
He cuts to him. He's like, George, she's 14. I know. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Sure. Okay. The next is Wado.
I love
And
it.
then Annie, little Annie.
I think this is probably going to mention that he's like a Jewish stereotype.
Yeah, very hard Jewish. Yep, right here. Evil Jewish men since.
Yep. Which I get. I get the stereotypes. I get that. But I love him as a character. So, I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I think him, like, I don't think you can attack them for their stereotypes because they're bad, right? Wrong.
Right.
But I don't hate him. He's not when someone comes on the screen, I go, oh, here we go. Like, you know, I think that's funny.
And like every form of media has a Jewish stereotype. Like it's just how it is.
Yeah. So it's
not
okay.
right.
You're saying
No, I'm not saying it's shut up. No, but it's like they're also these aliens, you know. So it's like I don't know.
That's fine.
I shouldn't try to justify it. No, it's not.
You
it's
can
not
be racist to
justifiable.
aliens.
No, it's not justifiable. But I like the character.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Salacious B. Crumb. I love Salacious B. Crumb.
Really? I hate his
dude.
laugh.
Dude.
These little squawks.
I'm gonna pull up the dictionary definition of salacious because this is another one that was named by George Lucas. Let's see if it says anything about him. Go back up to salacious. Kowakian's monkey lizard. Okay, maybe it doesn't say anything, but I'm pretty sure George requested his name be this. Okay. And salacious is an adjective. Having or conveying undue or inappropriate interest in sexual matters. So funny. Salacious. Speak around.
What are you doing, Georgie? What are you doing, buddy? That is so funny.
It's also like, I think it's also sexual and like enticing. If I can find another. Yeah, similar are pornographic, obscene, crude. So, okay. Here's Merriam-Webster definition. What does it mean if somebody is salacious, arousing, or appealing to sexual desire or imagination? So George sees this Muppet, and he goes, "Yeah, salacious." So
he goes, "Oh, that looks real salacious to me."
That's salacious.
I think his real name, from what I remember, was Salacious Beautiful Crumb, is what he wanted.
That would be hilarious.
He's so I don't know about 2, but top 5, I don't like him. But you say you don't mind him, so
dude, he's just I don't know. He's in a totally different category from. He's like in the B1 battle droid for me. Where like, of course, they're kind of annoying sometimes, but they're so integral to Star Wars, and you love them, you know.
Such an ugly thing, dude. The one thing
so
is the one just like the wrinkles.
I know.
in
I've never noticed
chin.
he has like red hair. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. That's so funny. Well, that's maybe a commentary on redheads. That we love them. Yeah. We love them.
Do Anyways. Do we even know any?
I know one. Andrew Santino. I love you, buddy.
Yeah, Andrew, you're listening.
The last is Jar Jar Binks. This is what you feared.
Dude, of course, it's an easy number 1. Whoever made this list is lazy.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we don't have to read this. We know. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
We talked about this. What fans think that he is a secret Sith Lord.
He is. We don't think it. It's established.
We know it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this. Well, George Lucas claims that he was inspired by Goofy, the lovable and clumsy dog from Mickey Mouse cartoons. I didn't know that. Oh, the Jamaican accent. I forgot he had that.
From his phone. Yeah. I love it, dude. I love Jar Jar Binks. I think he's a dumb character and like detracts from the plot. And I'm glad there was less of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he served his purpose when I was a kid. Like he was the comedic relief. I thought he was hilarious. So
yeah.
And I loved playing him on the original Lego Star Wars because he could do a double jump like the Jedi. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why he's the Sith Lord.
That's true.
I agree. I think we got the perfect amount of Jar Jar. I don't think we need it anymore. But it was so funny when I was watching it with Ellie. She just goes, when I put on Attack of the Clones, she goes, "Is Jar Jar Binks going to be in this?" I go, "No." She goes, "Okay, good."
I also love the use of the full name. Is Jar Jar Binks going to be in this? That's funny.
So good. Quickly, what are your top 5 if you had to do your worst characters?
My top 5 worst characters?
Yeah, your 5 worst characters on.
I think I might be prejudiced against the Hutts because it would be Ratto the Hutt, Zero the Hutt, the 2 Hutts in Book of Boba Fett, and Zero's mom because she's gross too. So it's all the Hutts.
Damn, it's all the Hutts except for Jabba. He's the only one you like.
Jabba's cool. Jabba's intimidating. Jabba's cool.
Yeah,
and like that council that they show in the Clone Wars of the Hutts, pretty cool.
That's true.
Down with the Hutts usually.
You rock with them.
No, I'd have to come up with a real list eventually. But yeah, what's yours?
But as of right now, I think for me,
as of right now, it's Hutts.
I think I think I agree with the Crumb, Salacious B. Crumb.
Salacious B. Crumb, okay.
Not Watto, love Watto. Zero, I agree. This girl, the C Snoodles. Snoodles.
That's Snooties. Snoodles.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and put her on my list. I think there was one other they said that I was like, yeah, I don't like them. I don't know. I guess my top 3 are those, and I agree with the baby Rado, whatever his name is. F that thing.
Yeah,
the thing should have died.
That's fair.
Anakin should have turned to the dark side in that moment and killed him. What? Who said
killed him there? Okay, well that's fair. I think it's a great list.
But yeah, anything else you got? Kind of a different episode. We didn't spin the wheel 2 weeks in a row. Sorry guys, I know you love it.
Sorry.
Love when we go for it.
I know you love the wheel.
But this is how it's going to be sometimes. Okay, so get off our back.
Yeah.
But love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you for being a disciple of the Force. Austin, anything else you want to close with?
That's it. Thank you for being a disciple of the Force and taking this journey with us.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.